Hey there, folks, and thanks for joining me for episode 8 of the Hip Hop Humboldt podcast. We're bringing you Humboldt local hip hop news, other album releases in mainstream and underground hip hop. We're also bringing you new single releases and upcoming events and album news. As always, you can find me on all the socials at Hip Hop Humboldt. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Check me out. I really appreciate a subscribe on my YouTube channel and a follow on my IG account because I'm out here trying to let folks know about new hip hop in Humboldt County. And speaking of, if you're a hip hop artist or producer or DJ in Humboldt County and you want any material in the IG stories, you let me know, and we're gonna let folks know about it. Whoa. And we're also gonna let people know about what you got going on in this podcast. Whoa. And what I'm gonna do is take clips from the podcast and turn them into audiograms that you can repost in your stories and let folks know about what you got going on. All right? Whoa. It's all about collaboration and making sure that we're maximizing these marketing tools that exist for the benefit of hip hop in Humboldt County. So let's get straight into Humboldt local hip hop news because I've got multiple tracks to report on, thankfully. First up, we've got a dope new track from Area Sound. It's called West Coast Outback, and between the beat and the bars, I really enjoyed this one. You can check it right now on Spotify, and what I also need you to do is follow Area Sound on IG. That's area_sound. I also need you to go follow Zigzagzilla on IG as well, because they're out here making some really fire tracks. I'm talking some chill hop sounding beats with some really dope bars on top. And you don't want to miss that when it's happening in Humboldt County. And as always, I got a lot of respect for artists when they're putting their family on, when they're putting their brothers and sisters on and their kids on and letting them know about the culture and showing them how to create. That's crucial. It's absolutely crucial to let folks know how to get their creative energy out on a constant basis. So props to Zach and Gabe from Area Sound for putting their family on and keeping the culture alive in Humboldt County. Next up, for all the City Hippie fans out there, we've got a new track called Blades that they just dropped on Spotify, and you can go check it right now. Matter of fact, you can also check it on YouTube. So go search City Hippie Blades on YouTube and you're gonna find it right now. They've been dropping hip hop in Humboldt County for a minute now, and I need you to follow them on Instagram. That's at We Are City Hippie. Shout out to City Hippie for holding hip hop down in Humboldt County. You know this is one of my favorite artists dropping hip hop in Humboldt County right now. And I'm talking none other than Attribute. Follow him on IG at Attribute718. But he just dropped a track with Bone, and he's about to drop another one before the month even ends. That means we're really eating in 2021. And I mean, this next track that Attribute is dropping on December 30th is gonna be some fire. It's gonna be crazy. You can already check the snippet on his Instagram. The track is called Never Switch Up. And check the feature list out on this one. We're talking about features from Crazy Bone, King Crooked, aka Crooked Eye, Sloan Bone, and of course we got Attribute on the track.
Run it.
All right. Shout out to Attribute for holding hip hop down in Humboldt County. Something else I wanted to make sure Humboldt locals know about is that from what I hear, the Dirty Rats have a new track coming soon. That's going to be out early 2022, I want to bet. And you need to make sure you follow them on Instagram right now as well. They're at _real_Dirty Rat Records. And shout out to Sonny Wong, Damien, Kush, and Callus, some of the dopest MCs around here. So, lo and behold, of course, when I decided to take a weekend off from producing my podcast is when everything decides to happen all at once for the month in hip hop. Matter of fact, there was so much that just happened in about the last 48 hours that is just crazy. But I wanted to make sure that I give out my biggest condolences and respect to Kangol Kid, who was battling cancer for years. This was a public battle that he was fighting through, and he deserves all the respect in the world for what he's done for the culture. If you didn't know Kangol Kid, he was co-founder of the Golden Era group UTFO, a real mastermind behind the culture and the way words were even put together. There really wouldn't be a Snoop Dogg if it weren't for Kangol Kid, all right? So my biggest condolences go out to his family right now. I also needed to make sure that I give condolences to the family of Drakeo The Ruler. You had to have heard by now, but he was fatally stabbed at the Once Upon a Time in LA mega concert that happened over the weekend. And this is a real big loss for LA, man. He was really coming up, and I just hate to see things so at a hilt nowadays in society to where nobody's protected, nobody's shielded. It's like Jim Jones said when he was speaking on the incident, the hip-hop artists used to be seen like superheroes, and now it's just not that way anymore, man. Any low-hanging fruit, folks are coming for. Now, I can only confirm what I'm hearing and seeing on the socials, but the word is that YG's crew has something to do with this stabbing, and also folks are saying that YG is no longer going to be able to perform in LA. And so that's pretty big. We'll have to see how this all, pans out. But I really hate to see stuff like this. And, I don't think that Nipsey would have approved of this type of behavior. So I really hope that we find out exactly what happens. And again, regardless, just condolences to the family of Drakeo The Ruler. I want to also give condolences to Faux Block, for the loss of Slim400. That was another horrible one that just happened. I really can't say or can't call that anything that happened with Drakeo happened to have anything to do with Slim4, but it's all a bunch of interesting set of circumstances, and we'll see how it all plays out and what comes to light. I wanted to make sure I give condolences to the family of the longtime bassist for the Roots that just passed away at the age of 62. I'm talking Leonard Hub Hubbs. That's another loss for hip hop, and it's really hard to see. Another big issue in the news recently has been this Tory Lanez Megan Thee Stallion case. If you've been following it, you'll know that the week started with testimony from someone saying that Megan Thee Stallion had told them that Tory Lanez said, "Dance, bitch," before the shooting. The next day, we hear testimony that apparently the bullet fragments that were found in Megan Thee Stallion's foot from Tory Lanez shooting her could not be located. And the last thing someone saw was her fighting with one of her friends named Kelsey right before the shooting took place. So, as I've said before, I wasn't there and I don't know what happened. We'll have to see how it plays out. But I have a feeling at this point that Tory Lanez may get out of this case. We'll have to see how it goes. It's horrible to see violence committed against black women regardless. So, recently I saw this conversation on Twitter that has spread to Instagram and the blogosphere, talking about Future saying that he's as good as or better, or at least more influential in the streets than Jay-Z. I personally think that this conversation is disrespectful to the culture, and I think it's also disrespectful to women. And so I really feel like people need to understand that anything that Future is popular for has not positively contributed to hip-hop, and that's my opinion. I wanted to give a shout out to Queensbridge. We just saw one half of Mobb Deep, the late Prodigy, get honored with his own street in Queensbridge. I think it was proper. Rest in peace, Prodigy, and shout out to Havoc and Styles P for that Wreckage Manor album they just dropped recently. That was some heat. Make sure you check it out since we're talking about Mobb Deep. Some more items from hip-hop news. We've seen a little bit of a feud between Ye and Big Sean brewing. Big Sean is firing shots at Ye over Big Sean's record deal with Good Music. He's saying that Ye and Good Music owes him a lot of money. And he was clapping back against anything Ye had to say about it when Big Sean was just on Drink Champs. Shout out to Noriega and DJ EFN. You can check Drink Champs out right now on YouTube, that latest episode. Go check it. On that same note, we've got Meek Mill and Rick Ross going at it over Meek Mill feeling like he's owed money as well. Rick Ross was recently caught saying that he's basically just trying to offset the blame on Atlantic Records and saying that Meek Mill's beef is with them and not him. You know, I know folks are trying to make points on people when they sign them and put them on, but you really need to make sure that you're giving people decent contracts. I think it's going to come back and bite you in the end, and karma's going to get you if you're putting bad contracts out there. And I'm not saying anything against Ross. I'm not saying anything against Ye. Anybody who's put contracts out there, right? We've seen, going far as, Q way back was mad at Eazy-E over the deal that NWA had, and that was well publicized. So this kind of thing goes well back in hip-hop history, and we've got to make sure that it doesn't continue. It's not positive for the culture to see people have record labels take all their money. There's already, taxes and other things that folks have to pay. And so we really got to see artists get the money that they deserve. That's what I believe. Last couple pieces of hip-hop news. You may have seen something about Freddie Gibbs allegedly got tossed around like a rag doll by Jim Jones at this club, Prime 112. I still haven't seen video confirmation of this, but that is the word that's going out there. So we'll see how that pans out. Last thing, I wanted to give a shout out to Dr. Dre and Anderson .Pac and DJ Pooh for their cameos in this GTA Online The Contract add-on. If you have GTA 5, you might want to check that out. So in the last 2 weeks, we had a lot of albums come out. But what I'm doing on this podcast is letting you know what my picks are, so that way you can go out and check out the ones that you might be interested in. And you'll probably like them if I'm giving the recommendations on my podcast, right? First up, we had a new album from Juice WRLD. Rest in peace, Juice WRLD. This is his second posthumous album, and I definitely enjoyed Fighting Demons. It was classic Juice WRLD. It was the biggest, most streamed album on Spotify for days and days in a row. It streamed the most out of any other album on Spotify for the week after that it came out. My picks from this album are the second track, Already Dead. That one's been blowing up. And it's really interesting because it seems like every so often we seem to get new information about what happened with Juice WRLD. You can actually go on YouTube right now and check. It's about probably 12 to 15 minutes worth of new footage that's on YouTube that gives you a little bit more insight about the last bit of time that Juice WRLD had on this planet. And I'm just really in sorrow for this loss for hip-hop in general. We've seen some footage come out with Juice WRLD vibing backstage with Cordae to some XXX songs. And we also saw some footage of Juice WRLD meeting Tyler, the creator, for the first time, and giving him some respect and love, because Juice said that Tyler was really influential for Juice WRLD. And so it's really interesting to hear these young artists have such an impact on each other, So shout out to Juice WRLD, rest in peace. I'm so glad that his album is streaming like crazy and that his numbers are, practically unbeatable. Him and XXXTentacion, they are posting up numbers better than almost every other rapper. Matter of fact, XXXTentacion he was the first artist to have 6 songs reach over 1 billion streams on Spotify. And so that's quite a feat in itself. And these guys have only been gone for so long, Juice WRLD and XXX. So the numbers are only going to increase from there. I really don't care what the numbers say down the road with like Taylor Swift or Adele. People need to give Juice WRLD and XXX their respect for what they've done and the impact they've had on not just hip-hop culture, but the whole generation that they've had a deep, meaningful impact on. Shout out to Juice WRLD and to XXX. You can find Fighting Demons, Juice WRLD's new album, on any DSP. Doesn't matter what streaming app you're on, Spotify, Tidal, whatever. You can find Fighting Demons on there. So go check it out right now. My next pick is Baldi James. This is my favorite artist out of 2021. He dropped an album earlier this year with The Alchemist called Bo Jackson. And I'm going to get into it in a future podcast, but that's my album of the year, and I'll tell you why later on. But you definitely want to check out this drop. Another drop from Baldi and Alk. It's called Super Tecmo Bo. And man, it's no joke. Baldi's coming in real hot, for real. I mean, he's about to take the whole game over with what he's doing. He's really taken the last 2 years to kind of sit back and sharpen his skills and look at what the rest of the field is doing. And he's coming out strong with one of the best producers in the game. And Alk is giving him some fire beats. He's getting collaboration from some of the hottest artists out. I'm talking Griselda. He's definitely moving up, and you want to check out this Super Tecmo Bo album. I really enjoyed it. Make sure you check it out. The third track on this Super Tecmo Bo album is called Hot Water Tank, and Baldi blacked out on that track. I mean, you definitely want to put that on your playlist. Another one that was fire was 300 Fences and Francois, the last track on the album. And you better get on Baldi James, I'm telling y'all, before he just blows up and then you guys are like, wow, I never heard of him. Well, you could have heard of him if you would have listened to me. Make sure you subscribe to the Hip Hop Humboldt podcast. I'm letting you know about all the dope drops. Next up, we had one of my all-time favorites, Big Boi. That's one half of Outkast. Dropped a collab album with actually somebody that he's collaborated with for years. I'm talking Sleepy Brown. This is Dungeon Family to the fullest, right? And they did this collaboration album, and I enjoyed it. I think you want to check it out. You know, when you have Sleepy Brown on something, it's going to have a lot of R&B, kind of a club feeling to it, an upbeat feel, and that's exactly what this album was. Then you've got Big Boi coming in with some bars to really round it out. Big Boi's doing a lot over the last few years, hopping into different genres, did that Fantagrams thing, right? And he's been just doing a lot of crossover work, so this just fit right perfectly into the picture with what he was doing. One of the most important things I want to make sure that you know about with this Big Boi, Sleepy Brown, Big Sleepover album is that there are 4 tracks with Big Boi and Killer Mike on here. I'm talking 4 tracks with Antoine Patton and Michael Render. And if you know hip hop, you gotta go check this album out right now just for those. Organized Noise is all over the production on this album as expected, so it's definitely worth your time. If you know hip hop, make sure you check out this Big Boi, Sleepy Brown, the Big Sleepover crossover album. My last pick of the week is Ninth Wonder's latest installment of his Zion series. This is Zion 6, Shooting in the Gym. This is another fire release from one of my all-time favorite producers. Ninth Wonder is basically the only person on the Grammy committee with any credibility whatsoever. He's the only person lending them any kind of credibility. If you know about Ninth Wonder, this is Jamla Records' head, one of the dopest producers out. He's with the Soul Council. If you know the Soul Council, that's Ninth Wonder, Crisis, Knots. There is not a better producer supergroup in the game than the Soul Council, but Ninth Wonder has been producing for a long time, and I just can't get over how well he manipulates samples. He does it better, in my opinion, than Kanye. He does it better than Apollo Brown. There's nobody that does it like Ninth Wonder. He's up there with J Dilla in my book, and that's saying a lot if you know me and how much I like J Dilla. This one is really a journey, just like a long J Dilla album. There's 59 tracks on this Zion 6 album from Ninth Wonder. Now, I don't want to absolutely scare you, right? Because if you know Ninth Wonder, you're going to know that a bunch of these tracks are 60 to 90 seconds long. And then you have your occasional 4 to 5 minute long track. He's one of the best in the game. This is highly recommended. Other than that, Juice WRLD, this is actually my top pick of the week. Make sure you check out this Ninth Wonder Zion 6 album. Shout out to Ninth Wonder. And since I was talking about him earlier, shout out to Knots, one of the best producers in the game. So there were a bunch of albums that came out that I didn't check out. You know, one of my reasons for, having this podcast is to let people know about the drops. So I'm just going to go over them so you have an opportunity to know what's popping and what you might want to check out and make your own decisions from there. But I will say that I did check out the new A Boogie album. That's A Boogie with the hoodie, and I didn't really like it. I didn't think that it was that creative. I'm really into the new wave. I'm into people stepping out of the box. That might make me a bit of a snob, but I just didn't really find much different or unique with this new A Boogie album. We also had a new album drop from Roddy Ricch. I haven't checked it out, but you may want to check that out. Chief Keef just dropped an album on Friday. I haven't checked it, but you might want to. Gucci Mane just dropped a Christmas album. I'm not really into that kind of thing, the Christmas album thing, but if you like Gucci or you like Christmas music, you might want to check it. DJ KaySlay dropped an album. I will be checking that one out probably tonight or tomorrow when I get a chance. Another one at the top of my to-listen list is the new album from Lance Skiiwalker. That's one of Top Dog's latest signees. I really enjoyed his last album. I haven't checked this one yet, but it's, like I said, at the top of my list. He's more of an R&B kind of feel, so I'm going to be looking for the features. Might even listen to the features first if there's somebody good on the features. So I'll let you know. Shout out to Top Dog. Between that Isaiah Rashad release and the SZA release that just dropped, I actually didn't put that in my last podcast, or maybe that dropped actually since my last podcast dropped. So shout out to SZA. Shout out to Top Dog, the whole Top Dog Entertainment. They're doing a lot, and I think that they're probably my most favorite record label in history. They just can't stop dropping really quality releases. Shout out to Top Dog, Dave, Punch, the whole Top Dog crew. I'm waiting for that new Kendrick album. Let him drop that. Let him off the album, off the label, whatever he wants to do. But I need some new Kendrick. And then I need for us to figure it out. And if he's going to be on a new label or what, I really just want to know so we can start to get the music again. That's the most important thing for me. I'm sorry to just be most concentrating on me and trying to eat, right? But as a hip hop fan and as a Kendrick fan, I really need that. Last one on the new releases that I'm gonna let you know about. 6 Lack had a 2-track EP just come out. First track was called Rent Free, and the other one was called By Any Means, I think it was. And that was a solid release. I really like 6 Lack. Make sure you check it out if you do too. And a shout out to Six Lack and Spillage Village, the whole Spillage Village crew. That's JID and also Earth Gang. Speaking of Earth Gang, we've got a new Earth Gang album on the horizon. I cannot wait for that one. Keep your eyes out. And make sure you go on YouTube right now and check out 2 new videos. This is 2 new tracks from Flatbush Zombies. They're coming out of Flatbush, New York. And these are both produced by Wu-Tang's RZA. The tracks are absolute fire. The first one is called Plug Addicts, and the beat is just bonkers. Make sure you go check out that Flatbush Zombies Plug Addicts. The second track is called Quentin Tarantino. I didn't like it as much as that Plug Addicts, but it's still some fire. Go on YouTube right now and check out these new tracks from Flatbush. So that's going to be it for this episode, folks. I'm going to lay out how we're going to do the next few episodes of the year. I'm going to drop another episode, my picks for album of the year. And then I'm going to drop one more episode for any other new hip hop that drops. You know, since that Baldi James Super Tecmo Bowl came out this late in the year, you got to make sure you don't start making your album of the year lists until like the last week. That's for real. So make sure you tune in to the next episode and follow me on all the socials right now at Hip Hop Humboldt. You can find me on Instagram. It's all going down on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. But I would really appreciate a follow on my podcast. You can find me on any podcast discovery platform by searching Hip Hop Humboldt. Let your friends know about the podcast. I'm just trying to make sure everyone in the county knows about any new hip hop coming out. It's crucial for the culture. Thanks a lot. Till next time.